Supercoach 360.
Supercoach 360. Animation.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
So we've got the things to remember. Burgs, you wrote a piece for the website. Some of the things that you want to remember. It was almost a dear diary to yourself, and not the sort yours, Lincoln Saxey.
Saxey's in my diary.
It wasn't a dear penthouse. It was a dear diary. Of just some of the things you want to remember throughout the Supercoach season. So we put them all down in an article, so you got somewhere you can actually just go back and look at and remind yourself of some of these things throughout the season.
Yeah, just certain things. I always go back and do them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been super coaching for a long time now, and at the start of the year, I think, you know what, I'm sticking to my guns. But then I put the feelers out, and I listen to a lot of different places, like podcasts and social medias, and I just think, oh, they're right. They're absolutely right. My homework was shit. They're a terrible player. I'll get this player. And pans out I should have went the way I was going, and it's happened to me a couple of times. It's due to you end up having a bit of self-doubt after you've read someone's name 1,000 times over the last month, and it's on every page you go to. And
why don't you take us through a few of your points, like let's say the top 3 from your article, of course.
Right. Well, listening to other influences, that was the first thing. Zigging and zagging, like sometimes it is best to jump on when everyone's talking about a certain player and they're the obvious choice for the week. You've got to go that way week.
When you say obvious, like what are you talking about? Are you talking about like a cheapie or someone that's getting on, like all of a sudden goes from 10% ownership to 30-40% ownership?
Just
like
someone
we just
who's
see the crowd
obviously
move.
going to make the most money that week and score the most points. Like if someone goes on David Fafita like runs of last year, and like just they're the player to get. You know what I mean? You know the player to get. But then there's other weeks when that particular player like there's a lot of other players in the mix. That's the week you should probably zag and have a look at maybe what Guy's talking about with the less than 2% ownership.
The antipod.
Well, that's the way you're going to win a classic battle. If you can find that guy who's the lowly owned and chugging along that no one's got, and he just keeps doing the job, then that guy that week that everyone's got and he goes down, well, that's the week you make your points back up. And if you've got 2 or 3 of these guys that do it, then it's one of them things you have to have. Like you can't all have the same guys, and it comes down to your weeks of picking when you should go against the grain. You know what I mean? And I just think sometimes I don't do that. Like I always just find myself going with the grain, you know. And by the end of the season, it comes back to bite you in the ass because you've got no one on their own.
Yeah.
All right, super coaching under the influence. Now this goes for everyone that I know nearly. Just remember, if you super coach pre-locker, well now it's going to be different because you can reverse change and that, which is pretty cool. But super coaching off your guts isn't cool. Like it is, but it isn't.
At the time it is. I think it's a great idea.
If you remember to check your team, if you're not too seedy and too knocked over, and you remember to check your team before games kick off the next day, yeah, then it might have been a bit of fun at the time. But if you don't, you might get a rude shock when you go to check your team during the game. Ever happened to you, Con?
Oh, I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah, done that?
Yes.
Alrighty, so Bergs, you've got a few other things there to remember. Make sure you head to supercoach360.com, check those out. There's a few more up there. I'm trying to find, I did like a Supercoach Commandments back in like season 2. I've just got to go back and figure out which episode it is and see if I can try and find them. Because I dare say the paper's long gone. I can look for the paper too. Just busy as it is.
Supercoach 360 podcast.